for taking our questions today. Just to clarify, are you apologizing for anything today?
I will be making an Inuit apology this afternoon, but in regards to standing up for jobs and defending the integrity of our rule of law, I continue to say that there was no inappropriate pressure. I'm obviously reflecting on lessons learned through this, and I think Canadians expect that of us, that any time we go through periods of internal disagreement and indeed challenges to internal trust as we have, there are things that we have to reflect on and understand and do better next time. In recent days, I have reviewed the testimony from the Justice Committee, including that given by Ms. Wilson-Raybould, Gerald Butts, the Clerk of the Privy Council, and the Deputy Minister of Justice and Deputy Attorney General, recalling various interactions. Each of these interactions was a conversation among colleagues about how to tackle a challenging issue. Each came at a time when my staff and I believed that the former Minister of Justice and Attorney General was open to considering other aspects of the public interest. However, I now understand that she saw it differently. What has become clear through the various testimonies is that over the past months, there was an erosion of trust between my office and specifically my former Principal Secretary and the former Minister of Justice and Attorney General. I was not aware of that erosion of trust. As Prime Minister and leader of the federal ministry, I should have been. One of the things central to my leadership is fostering an environment where my ministers, caucus, and staff feel comfortable coming to me when they have concerns. Indeed, I expect them to do so. In Ms. Wilson-Raybould's case, she did not come to me, and I wish she had. Because if it's a real relationship and if we truly are a team, we can always acknowledge when we need to make adjustments. Things won't always be perfect, but there should remain a constant level of openness and dialogue. And that dialogue is crucial on a file as important as justice.
You know, I won't surprise anyone when I say that my father and I had different leadership styles. But I can also tell you that amongst the files that were dearest to him and to me as well, the justice file stood out.
It is something that I was immensely pleased to discover, that the new Prime Minister's office in the West Bloc was an office that was occupied by my father when he was Minister of Justice. And throughout his career, he was dedicated to that principle of justice, the just society, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And his approach of justice and fairness infused everything he did, and certainly was something that he raised me with. I think it's extremely important to ensure that you have strong people leading different parts of the government. And there is no question that reconciliation and indeed the relationship with Indigenous peoples was something that has always been at the heart of the priorities of this government. So looking to have a strong leader whose engagement in Indigenous issues has been lifelong and whose thoughtful approach on this was something that I relied on quite significantly, particularly as we were moving forward on historic legislations like Child and Family Services, which is actually about empowering Indigenous communities and Indigenous leadership to control what happens to their children instead of having the federal government or provincial governments do that. These were important things that I thought she was she would be excellent at, and that it would be very good to indicate just how much this issue continued to matter to our government, even though we had moved Minister Philpott out of that file.
You didn't really address the point of my question. She had a fairly plausible explanation of why she couldn't, in good faith, take that job on, because she didn't want to have to enforce the Indian Act that she'd spoken out against previously. Why not leave her as Justice Minister, and do you regret not leaving her as Justice Minister?
I think as we look back over the past weeks, there are many lessons to be learned, and many things that we would like to have done differently, and that is certainly part of the reflection we need to have going forward. But in terms of how we move forward and how we make decisions in who is going to be in and where within Cabinet, those decisions are ones that we take seriously, and we always look to move forward, not backwards on that.
Hi, Prime Minister. Jerry Butts testified yesterday that when Jody Wilson-Raybould refused the offer to move to Indigenous service, he advised you that you needed to move her anyway, because if you let a minister veto her appointment, you would lose control of your cabinet. Is that why you didn't leave her in the Justice portfolio or move her to Veterans Affairs?
No, any decision to move a minister or make changes to cabinet has multiple reasons and reflections and motivations. And there were already many decisions that had been made and were in the process of being made that there wasn't any question of moving backwards on. We were going to keep moving forwards. There are obviously many different factors that go into any decision like this, and the offer on Indigenous services was a serious positive one. And the offer on Veterans Affairs, which was accepted, was also one that I thought was the right one for our cabinet and our country.
Prime Minister, you